Hello, I am Mac, at least for a day, and everything is going to be okay. This is a Waking Titan 1.5 report. We've got some really interesting information to go over. But first, at 6:30 Central Time on Thursday, June 21st, Dreamer number 5 was connected to the dashboard. Her name is Claire. She is a little girl from what I've heard. And we've got the first 2 passwords for her memory blocks, but again, if you want to do the conversations yourself and figure out the passwords, then you should stop the video now, go do that, and then come back if you want to try to figure the passwords out. And you should also just get to know Claire anyway. You can do that by going to the uplink.satcom-70.com/dashboard. I'll put a link to that in a pinned comment, and then you can go to Claire and choose to do her conversation events. But if you've already done that or you don't care, the password for the first conversation is Olivia Pierce, and the password for the second conversation is hate. So those are those passwords. Then at 3:00 p.m. Friday, which is today, June 22nd, Claire and Alexander's memory block events activated. We now have an assignment to get DJs of radio stations to play songs that were at Alexander's wedding, and this is supposed to help him remember his wife. So you need to request certain songs in a list, which you can get on the dashboard, and have them call a DJ, request the song, and then you need to record. And the DJ actually has to say that the song was requested for Alexander, and you need to record that part, and then you need to record when they play the song. And people are supposed to submit these recordings to Reddit, and someone is going to put them all together into a playlist, and that is what will be submitted to Alexander, and that will help him remember his wife. And then another event is for Claire. She is a fan of comic books, so they want people to create their own comic books. I believe that they've drawn themselves, and that is also going to be compiled into a group and sent to Claire. I think they're both due by Monday, so we've got all weekend to request songs from DJs and draw comic books, and then they will be submitted on Monday, so that we can get the third and final conversation with Claire and And then one of the really interesting things is Devlin Pixie on the Atlas CSD forums finally solved the uneasy Barton text puzzle on the Myriad status page. So what happened was, earlier in the ARG we got this group of text that starts lorem ipsum, and it looks like Latin, but it's all mostly just gibberish. And then we also have this uneasy Barton list of words on the Myriad status page, and then the other clues we got was UDC and then B in parentheses equals IXNI, and then UDCP in parentheses is what we need to solve. So what Devlin Pixie figured out is the lorem ipsum and the uneasy Barton text paragraphs both have exactly 395 characters. So what you do is you line them up together, with each letter corresponding to each other, the first letter of each lined up, and so on. And then for the UDC-B, if you look for wherever the letter B occurs in either text, you look at what character it corresponds to in the other text. So if you do that, there's only 4 B's. The letter B only occurs 4 times throughout both texts, and the corresponding letters for the letter B are I, X, and I. So that's where the I, X, and I comes from. So then you just do the same thing with the letter P. Wherever the letter P occurs in either text, you look at the corresponding character in the other text, and for that we get log, L-O-G, 3022. So log 3022 is a password that you can put into the Myriad dashboard for a search, and it comes up with the following text log. Now this is a conversation, and we now know it's a conversation between, if you read through the whole thing, you find out who's talking. It doesn't say who's talking for each one, but you kind of can contextually figure out when it's switching to a different person talking. But this is a conversation between Emily and Sophia Dubois, and here it goes. Begin logging at Monday, June 11th at 4:22 and 23 seconds. Something is wrong. The satellite constellation has lost connection to physical backup node Alpha, and I can't troubleshoot the connection. Can you check if it's something on your end? I think all of that was Emily talking. And then Sophia answers back, it is. And Sophia continues to say, aren't you supposed to be able to tell the future? Shouldn't you have seen this coming? And Emily says, I've been afraid to look. I had a nightmare. And then Sophia says, Liz is gone, Emily. Her and the node both. Emily? And then Emily says, sorry, I just haven't... This is a new feeling for me. I'm having trouble understanding it. It doesn't get easier. And Sophia says, what? And Emily says, losing someone you care about. It's just hard, every single time. Eventually you learn to cope with it, but it doesn't ever get easier. I'm sorry. It's kind of funny that this is coming up right after I've lost my mom. We lost Elizabeth, and Emily's dealing with losing her, and I'm dealing with losing my mom. But anyway, and then Sophia says, I'm sorry, I know you were close. Can you make a prediction for me? What would she have wanted? If she hadn't stayed late at Myriad, if she was here, what would she say? And Emily says, she'd say that we have to finish what we started. She would say we have a responsibility to help rescue the Sacramento Dreamers. Elizabeth would have wanted us to see this through to the end. And then Sophia says, do you know who did it? Who attacked us? And Emily says, yes. Then Sophia says, tell me. Emily says, I can't. And then Sophia says, Loop 16, that is a direct order. You will tell me who did this. And Emily says, you want me to give you an excuse to bail on the project. And Sophia says, you're right. And Emily says, Sophia continues to say, I hate that you are always right about these things. How can you expect us to work with them after this? Then Emily says, this isn't about you, or Atlas, or Myriad, or Where, or even about me. This is about the futures I've seen. The Atlas Foundation created me to do one job, and I have gotten very good at it. You might hate them, but the technology they've created, I can't explain it to you. It's not something I can put into words very easily. It's going to change the world for the better. It's the only acceptable option in the long term. And Sophia says, I don't want to do it. And Emily says, Sophie, I don't want to do it either, but I know we have to. Sophia says, I know. I'll convince the rest of the Foundation. They're putting me in charge. I'm in so far over my head. Emily says, you're going to do great. Elizabeth says, I've got one hell of a pair of shoes to fill. And Emily says, I believe in your ability. Sophia says, and Emily says, and plus I can see the future, so you can trust me. You're going to do great. Sophia says, thanks, Emily. Emily says, Sophia says, I've called in a lot of favors to avoid an international incident over this mess. My superiors want to pull the plug on the whole project. Emily says, you can't let them do that. Sophia says, I know I won't. Then Emily, you can trust me. And Sophia says, we're going to finish this for Elizabeth. Actually, that might have been Emily that said that. I'm not sure. Like I said, it doesn't say who is saying what. We just know who the two people talking are. So this basically, it didn't come right out and say that Ware is the ones that attacked Myriad and killed Elizabeth. But since Emily refused to say it, and she said that it would have caused Sophia to refuse to work with Ware, that pretty much clinches it that Ware is the ones that killed Elizabeth. It also, this conversation also, well, it explains what I talked about earlier. I talked about earlier that if Sophia knew that Ware is the ones that killed Elizabeth, she wouldn't be willing to work with Ware. So either Elizabeth doesn't know that it's Ware that did it, or she does know and she's also evil. Well, now we know that Sophia is not evil based on this. So Sophia kind of knows that Ware did it, but Emily is saying that she still needs to work with Ware anyway in order to save the Dreamers and eventually take advantage of Ware's technology. But I guess you can kind of say that Sophia has plausible deniability because Emily never came out and said Ware are the ones that killed Elizabeth. So Sophia can continue working with Ware, and she can always say that she never knew for sure that Ware were the ones that killed Elizabeth. But Sophia is not evil. She's not trying to... She wasn't the one who killed Elizabeth. She didn't order Elizabeth's death or anything. She doesn't like it either. And neither does Emily. So I think this mostly proves that we can trust Sophia and Emily. That both of them are mostly aware that Ware killed Elizabeth, but they still have to work with Ware in order to save the Dreamers, and eventually we're probably still going to have to beat Ware, but Ware's technology is still good and useful, so we need to get a hold of it, or the Atlas Foundation needs to get a hold of it so that they can use it to help human society rather than hurting them, which seems to be what Ware's intent is. Ware's intent definitely seems to be evil, especially if they did destroy Myriad and kill Elizabeth. Well, destroy the Myriad sublocation. They didn't destroy all of Myriad. But anyway, that appears to be what the case is now. So it's good to finally know what's going on, what happened, and why we're still continuing to work with Ware, even though it does seem they killed Elizabeth. So thank you, Devlin Pixie, for solving that text puzzle so that we could get this log of information. And other than that, important thing I should mention is the Xbox pre-order bonus for No Man's Sky has now been revealed. A lot of YouTubers have already done videos on this, but I'm just going to mention it. There is a special exosuit that people who pre-order the Xbox version will be able to get. It's called the XO suit, which is kind of a dumb pun, but I guess Sean Murray and Hello Games couldn't pass up the chance to make a joke like that. exosuit for the Xbox. But and then of course there's also a pretty basic multi-tool that you get instead of the regular starting multi-tool, and also 10,000 units, which is nothing. That's a drop in the barrel. But someone said that 10,000 units was the pre-order bonus for PS4 and probably PC as well. So that was just what it was back then. Nowadays, you know, you can make 1 billion units. Well, it takes a while, but you can make 1 billion units. So 10,000 units seems like nothing to those of us who've played the game for a while. But anyway, I guess more important is the exosuit. At least it shows us what another exosuit looks like. And the cool thing about the exosuit, other than the head looks just like the Xbox logo, but the body, the chest plate, looks exactly like a Viking's exosuit. When you see a Viking NPC, that's what their chest piece looks like. The same on the exosuit. So that's kind of cool, I guess. And the only other thing is the pre-order bonus itself has a background, or the picture of the pre-order bonus has a background, and the background is a lush planet. And it looks pretty much the same as lush planet trees that we have, except for the trees are really dense. The trees are really close together. I don't think many people have pointed this out, but that background may be a hint that we are getting much more dense forests on lush planets, because this is about the best it gets as far as lush planets go right now. And you definitely could not call this a forest. This is definitely a, oh, darn it. This is definitely a, I don't know, small grove of trees. It's not a forest by any means. So, and that is a complaint that people had in the Atlas Rises update, was that lush planets have much less trees now. And in fact, people on PC know for certain that a certain value in the algorithm was turned to 0, and that's what has caused lush planets to be much more sparse. The trees are much more sparse and not as densely packed as they used to be. So that background on the pre-order bonus may also be a clue that they are fixing that, and we're going to get much more dense forests on lush planets again, which is definitely something that I've wanted. So that's about it. We have Alexander's memory block activity. We got to get DJs to play certain songs and record those songs, and the DJ introducing that it's for Alexander. We've got to make comic books for Claire. We got this log, thanks to Devlin Pixie, that tells us that Sophia and Emily are not evil, or at least we're pretty sure, and they're just trying to help the Dreamers and probably stop Ware, but also eventually use Ware's technology. I'm sure they'll use it much more safely than Ware has. And we have the Xbox pre-order bonus. So that's it for the news on Waking Titan right now. I'm sure more will develop over this weekend. It's Friday, so I'm sure I'll be reporting again Saturday or Sunday, because, oh yeah, the one other piece of news is, of course, the third element on the Myriad dashboard is starting to download. Now, last time the progress bar increased by 16% every 8 hours, so that makes it take about 2 days to complete. So it starts on Friday and it finishes downloading on Sunday. So Sunday most likely is when we'll get another clue about what's in the next update. But that, I believe, is all of the news for now. But I'll be reporting once we get the new clue about the update, or if something else major happens, I'll report on that. But for now, I have been Mac. Thank you for joining me for a day. And remember, everything is going to be okay.